with this situation, you can make donations through our website. So we're going to be doing an interview with Olaf BOSWIJK. He's the founder of the school, Throw and Valley of the Possible. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for taking our invitation. So please tell me, can you tell me a bit about how it was to set up such an iconic club as Throw?
A lot of hard work, of course, also fun. I think looking in hindsight, I specifically enjoyed the setting up part when you're still making plans and dreaming, and when you find a building that is empty, the location, which was an old printing factory for the newspapers in Amsterdam. So all the famous Dutch national newspapers were printed in this building. And when we found it, it was immediately like this incredible feeling, like, oh my God, this is such a beautiful industrial building with so much character and so much history. But it was also in a very interesting area of the city, and it was designed to keep sound inside because the machines of the printing press were so loud that even though it was a very industrial looking building with concrete, all of the inside of the walls were treated with acoustic panels. So it looked industrial, which you would think would sound horrible, but it sounded very warm and um, very kind. So it had these amazing characteristics, and walking around the building and thinking about what would be possible in such a space was definitely very exciting. Once you open a club, then it becomes a lot of hard work and a lot of stress, but the times before were, I think, very exciting.
Okay. And well, also at one point you had a 24 hours license. Was it a game changer in Amsterdam's nightlife? Like, there are a few cities in Europe that are allowed to have such a thing.
Absolutely. As long as I can remember, myself and other people in Amsterdam nightlife were always trying to convince the local politicians and mayor and the city to extend the opening hours. But we didn't ever really believe that that would come to such a point as, for example, it is and has been always in Berlin, where there's hardly any limits to the opening hours. But at some point, the Amsterdam mayor, Eberhard van der Laan, who sadly passed away, I think 2 years ago, he really acknowledged the significance and the importance of nightlife and club culture for the city. And he had a very strong vision about what Amsterdam as a city should be and what the cultural scene should be. And he acknowledged the significance of club culture within that. And he started an experiment where several locations in the city would be able to have a 24-hour license, and these locations would all have to be temporary. They'd have to be in areas where there's not a lot of people living, no residents. They had to be clubs that were in some way culturally interesting, so working with different disciplines and not just, purely commercial techno events, for instance. And he had a number of other regulations. And when he published this, we immediately felt like, oh, this is kind of exactly about us. This pilot project is made for us. So we applied, and we were the ones to get it. And Mayor van der Laan actually came to the opening night, which was the first night that we would be allowed to open longer than 5 o'clock in the morning, which was then the curfew. And he had a wonderful speech with all the local and national press, and he played the first record that evening together with Tom Trago and myself. We were all in the booth while he started the first record for the evening. So it's absolutely a highlight in the history of Trouw and of Amsterdam nightlife, I think.
Okay. And I know you made a trip to South America to took a road trip.
Hmm.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us uh, how it influenced, how much about that road trip was influenced with the scene culture and what you did on your club?
Well, after Trow stopped, I really needed a break. I wanted to rest and reflect and do something very different. So my wife and I started a trip, and the idea was to basically drive from Canada to Patagonia in 1 year. And after that, we didn't have any plans. We would see what would happen. This trip didn't last 1 year. It lasted around 2.5 years, and it really changed the way we see the world. It changed the way we see ourselves and our life and our work. And during this trip, we started to see a lot of the things that we knew about and we read about when we still lived in Amsterdam. Things like climate change and the effects of biodiversity loss, but also the effects of capitalism and the suppression of indigenous peoples. But we were able to experience and see it from firsthand, from ourselves. We had also always dreamt about starting an artist residency, and then this kind of came together. We felt that the artist residency should not just be a place where we invite artists to come and spend time so they can work and make art, but that the artist residency at its center needs to have these type of themes. So Valley of the Possible, we call it a refugio for art and research. It's in southern Chile. It's basically a place where we offer artists, but also scientists and other creatives, a place to reconnect with nature, but also a place where they can um, learn about different ways of seeing the relationship we have with the natural world. So we offer different programs, for instance, in collaboration with local indigenous communities, with scientists, with universities, and basically what we try to do is we try to, from the arts and from culture within, we try to create a different perspective on the way we as human beings see the natural world. And that for us is a fundamental principle on how we as a society can become um, in a better relationship and more sustainable with the earth.
And did you ever thought about setting up similar, other similar spots like that in other places in Latin America?
Not for now. There are other places in South America that are very similar in their goals and vision. We are a member of an alliance that is called the Green Art Lab Alliance, which is an initiative by a friend of ours, Jasmine Ostendorf. And basically, what she's been doing before in Asia and Europe, she's also now doing in Latin America, which is creating a network, an alliance of all these platforms within the arts and within culture that all have the same idea of how the arts can influence the way we as a society work and the way we see change and the way we see a more sustainable relationship with the natural world. So we do strongly believe in this kind of collaboration where we open ourselves and we open our networks and all the knowledge that we have, and we try to connect the artists that we work with, the partnerships that we work with, so that everybody can benefit from it. Um, but for us, it's also still a lot of work to focus on our own space. But who knows? Who knows what will follow in the future?
So there are nothing planned.
No plans, but always open for ideas and collaborations.
Okay. No. So, um, so can you tell us more about the project itself?
Yes, so like I said, Valley of the Possible is a refugio for art and research in a region in southern Chile called La Araucanía. Basically, it's in a almost abandoned valley high in the Andes, next to Parque Nacional Conguillo, which is a very famous national park in southern Chile. La Araucanía is also well known for um, the it being the original land of the Mapuche, which is the largest indigenous group of Chile. An indigenous group that is one of the largest of South America, but their history is not so well known. They were never conquered by the Incas nor by the Spaniards, but they were always suppressed and driven more south. So what we are doing in this area is we're developing programs where we can invite artists from all over the world from different disciplines um, to come and reconnect with nature. So the surrounding that we offer them is radically different to the urban environment that a lot of people are from, and where I'm also from, and where a lot of artists and cultural initiatives are always from an urban context. Um, for instance, there's no Wi-Fi. There's a lot of hiking trails. You can drink the water from the river. Sorry. There's very special and beautiful ecosystems. Um, the valley is next to a volcano, and there's various national parks and glaciers and um, and lots of places of natural interest close by. So when people come, they stay for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe. And during this period of time, we take them on various trips and we show them indigenous communities, national parks. We go and meet other scientists, or we go to universities, and all of this informs them in a way to question and to research some of the dominant narratives that we have grown up with. And a lot of artists always, they try to see things in a different way. They try to um, place things in a different context than what might be normal or what we might consider normal. And in this way, we try to facilitate a platform for artists to create works that can travel the world and that can change our culture, basically. So the idea is that the artist residency is a way of channeling uh, the creatives and artists of the world to create a different way of seeing the world around us.
That's something very nice. And is there a contact or a page where the artist interested in this can
Of
put
course.
themselves in contact with you?
Yeah, of course. The website is valleyofthepossible.com. And we also have an Instagram and Facebook, also Valley of the Possible.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time. Thank you for this interview, so people can get know what is, or at least have an idea about what is setting up a club or something. Because sometimes people think it's just like, yeah, they just put music on it, or they just open a place where it's dark, they sell alcohol, and that's it. But I really think setting up a club and also talking more about uh, the other project you have in South America, it's a lot of passion. So it's really good to have you and to have your words to help us understand a little about more how it is that to live doing something like that.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Goodbye.
Ciao, Jesus. Ciao.